Well, when I was here, I was here in 2011 and 2012. Then 2013, I was here for a month, every other month. And I didn't spend much time in the cities because they weren't key seats. The party wanted me to spend time in key seats. One thing that I came across and felt like I learned was there's a more heavy emphasis on identifying as working class here than there is in the United States. So while class is important in the United States, it's not so much as deep a sense of identity as people here have. I'm a working class person. People would introduce themselves to me as a working class. My name is John. I'm a working class guy. You wouldn't necessarily have that kind of introduction in the United States. So one of the things that struck me was so many people identifying by class. I think the reason for that is because people that I was meeting had spent many years, sometimes they were in the same place as their parents, where they had grown up and where their parents still were, or their grandparents. And I think their work was working class work, whether they were former miners or whether they were worked in manufacturing, or whether they did manual labor. And I think they felt discriminated against and looked down upon. And so there was a sense of solidarity and pride in being a working class bloke or working class woman that set them apart from the people who they thought were intellectuals and people who thought that they knew about the working class communities and their lives, but really didn't. And they felt some resentment towards being looked down upon. So it kind of solidified, sort of their feeling about who they were. So it certainly depended upon who you were talking to, how they felt about the Labor Party. But I would say the person, for example, that was not involved, was not a member, and generally not involved in any political party, I would say there was generally a negative feeling, or a feeling that the party was irrelevant to their life. Politics didn't matter. It was all a bunch of stuff that made no difference in people's lives. So it was a fairly negative feeling about politics in general. Most of the working people or poor people that I met, they didn't say we don't have power, but they felt like they were kind of dispossessed and not taken seriously. Partly because they had lost much of the jobs, and people had been promising, whether Tory or Labor, that they were going to refound some of these communities. They were going to get businesses to come back in, and that hadn't happened. Power, the root of the word means the ability to act. So while they didn't use the word saying, Arnie, we don't have any power, they would say no one pays attention to us. It really doesn't matter what we're going through. And they make promises. They all make promises. They all, meaning whether it was Miliband or Cameron at that time, or the Lib Dems. They all make promises. And, I remember one man saying to me, and look around. What do you see? We were on the high street. You see betting shops. You see vacant stores, right? You see some nasty-looking people hanging around. I wouldn't bring my children down here. And they're all going to be doing something. But that's what they've been saying for years. So no one cares about us. It's all about London or Manchester, or, who cares about us here in Burnley or Preston or wherever I was moving around, Carlisle or wherever. So it wasn't that they talked about power directly. It was that they described what it's like not having the ability to act. Working people can get power if they organize themselves and operate with a focus, but they didn't see the Labor Party as that vehicle. They just didn't think it either represented them or took them seriously.